Hey, dog. What's going on, dog? Yeah. Hey, dog. Look what I found. Look what I found, dog. Huh? It's a watch. Yeah. Yeah, a watch. A dive watch or something. Okay, put it in my bag. Anyway. Watch. Well, what'd you think of that soft-shell turtle right there? You know, they're hard to spot underwater because they're buried in the mud. And I think that for the last 15 years collecting seashells and stuff, looking for cone shells and Murexes and different kind of shells, you got an eye where you spot something unusual on the bottom that's kind of buried or whatever and all. So I'm down there, I was videoing it, and I think my legs to my video platform touched its tail or its leg, and it lifts out of the mud, and away it goes. And of course that's where I found this dive watch. I thought, I'm not much of a fan of dive watches. I got this dive watch here, bought it at Walmart for what, 12, 15 bucks. It's been 190. Been in the last 3 years, it's been a lot of times 100 plus. It hadn't leaked or anything. So anyway, I go to Troy Springs to do some free diving, stay in shape for my trip to the Philippines, and to test out my gear because the water's so clear there. Test out my video, new Intoba X2, and the new lighting system I put together, and flotation. Right then I was really involved in flotation for my camera gear and all. So I didn't think much of it, you know, of this finding this thing. And so I get through diving there, and I'm getting ready to go to the Philippines. I guess a couple of weeks after I found this thing, or 10 days or a week, I don't know what it was. So I end up in the Philippines, in Manila. I catch a bus to Legazpi. We do some deep dives there with a dive master I known from before. And he had kind of a meter like dive computer like that. Then from there, 22-hour bus trip to San Fernando, La Union, and a 145-foot dive there. I probably could have used a meter on them 2 dives. I didn't know I had one in my dive bag until I got to Angelao. So anyway, traveling the Philippines like that by bus. Let me show you some video of what it's like to travel the Philippines. It's not like traveling Greyhound here in the States. Oh, you are? Are you waiting for the bus?
Yeah. How would you like Philippines?
What?
How would you like Philippines?
I come to the Philippines to go diving. And all, so
Welcome to the Philippines.
To go diving, scuba diving.
Enjoy your sports.
What?
You need to enjoy your sport.
Traffic's heavy leaving Manila here. It'll be that way at every province or township we hit on the way to Legazpi, some plus 200 miles. So bus driver, he has to make time wherever he can, double line, whatever it is, head on traffic, they go for it. On the this car, it wouldn't flinch, so we moved over a little bit. And if you're driving a tricycle, and you get run over by a bus, or a bus hits you head on or something, the bus pays maximum liability is 10,000 pesos. That's $200 US. Life's cheap in the Philippines. We're going around this here, coming up on a curb. A couple of motorcyclers coming up here. Maybe their family will collect 200 bucks. Nope, the family doesn't get to collect. No. In the Philippines, you have a lot of times buses go head-to-head collisions, 10, 15 people dead. You might say it's a little dangerous to travel by bus. That's what I'm doing. I'm traveling by bus. Going around this jitney. A little bit of a close call, but not. We'll see a lot of real close calls on this trip. On the past trips, I've seen some really close calls. And we're going around. Got to make some time here. Double line. They'll move. Yeah. And back over here and passing again. Coming up on some guy. He's a little bit bigger. You know, will he flinch or? Oh, we got luckily we got in here in time. We got a slower truck here, but let him pass him. We'll let the traffic pass us, and we'll stay in his lane so we can get some headway. Now I'm over in now I'm at the terminal in Legazpi. I'm getting ready to go back to the Manila and then on to San Fernando, La Union. I don't know what it is, but whenever at these terminals, sometimes people will stop and look at me. Maybe it's because I'm the lone American traveling here. I'm not used to seeing Americans travel this way. Anyway, traffic, we're in another bus, transferred to another bus here, and we're in Manila. The traffic in Manila is about the worst you've ever seen in your life. I mean, it's amazing, the traffic and the way they drive here, the jeepneys and tricycles and everything else. Nice lady across from me. I got another one here who's going to give me a little story. She's sitting next to me. So like I said, you have 3 daughters.
Yeah, I have 3 daughters.
I guess they'd like to meet an American, maybe 25, 30 years old.
Yeah, 25 to 30 years old.
They're very attractive.
Yeah, very, very attractive.
Oh, yeah. Okay, it's been about 24 hours. I got a little bit of sleep. I've been on a bus here. We're almost to San Fernando, La Union. I buy 2 tickets when I get on the bus. One for my bag and one for me. Yeah, I showed you a little video of a dive I did at Ocean Deep Dive, San Fernando, La Union. Finished the dive there and headed for Manila. Met a lady, looked at some seashells in Manila, and then on to Angelao Dive Center. About 3 hours, 3.5 hours, including bus out of Manila and to the west of Manila. So I get to the dive center there. I go in there and I tell them, the divers that get the gear ready, I say, I need 12 pounds of weight because I'm wearing a 3-mil wetsuit. And they get the 12 pounds of weight out. I go back to my room to get my weight belt. I got a special rubber weight belt I use. I'm digging through my dive bag and I come up with this dive watch, okay? I take a look at it. It looks more like a dive computer because that's what it looked like. The dive computer looked like when I was in Legazpi with my support diver and my dive buddy there. He had a dive computer and it kind of looked like this, but not exactly. So I go into to the dive center there. There's 2 guys there. The guy that runs the show and the dive master in charge of the show there at Angelao, and diver Phil. So I say, hey, you know how this here is a dive computer? You know how it works? You can tell me how it works? They go, oh, well, we don't know nothing about this. I'll look at it, blah, blah, blah. Well, you don't know. We haven't used it. You don't have the instructions now. So Phil says, oh, I got a class I'm going to teach in a little while. I got to go. So much for finding out how this thing works. So last time I used a dive computer, like 45 years ago, I used the SOS. It was designed by Victor DeSantis out of Italy. I did some diving with him in the Bahamas, but he designed that. It was the first dive computer out. So I use it quite a bit, dive computer at Bikini Atoll over there in the Pacific, where all they set off a nuclear blast and sunk a whole fleet of ships. Diving 190 plus feet, 20 minutes bottom time, and let's see, 2 dives a day. That last dive, 20 minutes bottom time on air, that was straight air. And that was a long time on that last dive at the end of the day. A long time decompression with the nitrogen buildup from the first dive in the morning. Anyway, that's the last time I used a dive computer. And right now, most of the time, one tank, I don't worry about it. 100 feet in one tank, you really don't need a computer. But, most of the time, the dive master, the dive guide, or whatever it is, he has a computer, he checks out. So, like the guy was telling me time to come up when I was over in San Fernando, La Union ocean deep dive. Anyway, so I check on my dive for the next day. I want to go to a certain spot, and they say, well, you're the only diver, so you got to pay for the whole boat. I said, okay, I'll pay for the whole boat, and we'll go to the spots I want to go to, and all. And it's pretty cheap in the Philippines. I can afford a boat compared to the prices they get there. That's why I dive there. Exotic reefs and really good prices on diving and stuff. So, okay. So next morning I'm ready to go, and Phil comes up to me, this dive instructor, and he says, hey, do you mind if I ride over there with you with my wife and kid, and when you're diving we'll snorkel around the boat? I say, sure, I got the whole boat, let's go, come on. So he comes up to me, he says, hey, I'll tell you what, bring that dive computer and I'll look at it. I bring the dive computer, and on the way over he takes a look at it. Anyway, he gets through looking at it, and he says, well, it's set for feet instead of meters. I think you want to leave it there, and you just hit the mode, and when you go down, it should work. So I jump in the water, go down, diving around there, video, and get to 100, 110, 113, look at the watch, the meter, the computer, it's working. Okay, fine. So the last dive I do there is on a Sunday. There's a lot of people there, okay? And they're all there. We go out, and we got 12 people. And out of the 12 people, we divided into 6 divers each with the support diver, dive master to check it out. And we go out there, we jump in the water, and these guys are clearing, they're girls and women, they're clearing their ears and stuff like that, and changing, getting used to the bottom. The dive master's checking them out, looking them at them. So, okay, so much for that. I'm going to take off my own. They ain't going to miss me. Bang, I go down there, down, down, down. I run down looking at this thing. I get to about 160, maybe not 160 is where the last coral head was, and I stopped and then went back up, come back up and go looking around the edge of the reef there, and I find the whole group of divers there all together diving around there. So I hang around with them, go back in the boat, and anyway, we sit in the boat for about an hour and a half, and then we move to another spot half a mile down, jump in the water there. Okay. And the same thing, they're all jumping in the water, the dive master's checking them out and everything like that. So there's so much for this, I'm gone. I'm gonna make a lone deep dive, okay? So I head on down there, I got my meter now, my computer, okay? I go down, I think it was about 160, I found a coral head, the last coral head, and I go down a little deeper and look around, I don't know what it was, maybe I got to 180, I don't know, wasn't paying attention, turn around, decide to come back up. On the way back up, I hit 155, and I find these bubbles coming out of the bottom. Oh man, that's weird. Not really that weird. I seen it at Apple Island down south of Negros, in about 45, 50, maybe 60 foot of water, bubbles coming up, but this is 155 feet, and these bubbles are coming up, so that's pretty interesting. I spent some time videoing them. I'll show you a little short video of them. They're kind of interesting. That's our 155. So, okay, I better head back up. So I head back up, get up there. I get around, I don't know, 40, 50 feet, and then about 30 feet. And I look at this thing, says, oh, decompression time or some sort of BS or something like that. So I get into about 24 feet. And it says, oh, decompression, 17 minutes. What the hell's that about? 17 minutes? Hell, I went down that long. And so I start filming this here weird Gorgonia thing, weird thing right there, and filming it, using up some decompression time there. Well, it turned out I wasn't decompression that much. I look at the meter and it still says like 14 minutes or 16 minutes. So, okay, it says go to 10 feet. So I'm heading in there to the shallows, and I'm swimming in there, and so I see another one of these sea anemone, sea gorgonians, crazy things. I got video of them, I'll show you later. So I stopped and videoing it. I'm at 16 feet. I figure, well, I'm going to burn some decompression time here. Now it goes, say, 10 feet. Okay, 10 feet for 12 minutes or something like that. Well, then it dawns on me, oh yeah, it's my second dive. I got a little residual of nitrogen. Maybe I went a little deeper this time. So so I go in there, and I finally look, and there's a bunch of boats all together there for a lot of different dive centers. I find my boat, which got a scratch in the keel, and a guy swimming around it with fins on it because his wife dives scuba, but he snorkels around the boat. So I find the boat, and I'm looking at him decompressing, and I'm looking at this thing. I'm at 10 feet. Man, takes forever. Finally I get to 5 minutes, okay? Okay, 5 minutes. I look at my air, and I'm down to 500, or less than 500 bars or PSI. It's in the red. Well, I got enough time, I guess, okay? I got 5 minutes more to go, so... And anyway, that clock's by. It takes a while, okay? I'm watching it click. So anyway, finally gets down to 2 minutes, okay? Oh, 2 minutes, okay, I make it now. If worse gets to worse, I just pop up these meters, these computers. They're pretty conservative, and it ain't gonna matter. So I'll go ahead and try and stretch out the last 2 minutes. And I'll tell you what, when I got my last, I was down to 0 air. I was sucking air. I couldn't suck any more air out of that tank. And I look at this meter and it says 0. So I come up, hop in the boat, and they, hey, you finished your dive kind of early. The other people are still out there. I ran out of air. So anyway, this meter, it might have saved me from getting the bends or something. It's an Oceanic. Now, I got back here to the U.S., and I look on the computer to see how this thing works and everything. I find out, well, they got a serial number back here. A little serial number, or it's a registration number, they call it. You're supposed to register this Oceanic meter when you get it with Oceanic, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send an email out to Oceanic, and I'm going to say, hey, here's this number. Can you give me a name of a person? Well, a name, with all the cell phones, no more white pages, no more landlines, it's hard to locate people. I know that for a fact. So anyway, that's what I'll do. But what would be good, if I had a lot of subscribers, they might be able to find out who lost an Oceanic dive computer at Troy Springs. But I don't have that many subscribers. I got a couple guys, a couple people that subscribe to my channel here at Troy Springs. A couple subscribers, a few coming. But basically, a lot of people, I don't know, they don't like my videos. Maybe they don't like me. Maybe the age difference, a lot of people on YouTube, the people that are a little bit older like I am, a lot of them, they can't use a computer, so I'm not going to get an audience there. The younger people, they don't want to look at an old guy. So I don't know, I don't get many subscribers. But if I had a lot of subscribers, then I might find the owner of this dive computer.